DSPN, the Devlin Sports Podcast Network.
First time on the DSPN podcast. What a pleasure this is. I love this guy. He has been a real force in New Zealand rugby for a long time. Very well respected. He's come back from Japan, was in a different role with the Otago Highlanders last year. It's a big, long intro for the new coach for 2025, Jamie Joseph. Good to see you, mate.
Yeah, nice to see you, Marty. Yeah, it's great to be back. It's been really good down here in the last sort of couple of months. Yeah, we've got a young team, but very, very keen and ready to go.
I want to ask you all about that. Just how's your summer doing down there? You know, it's nice and warm. I mean, it's swelteringly hot up here in Auckland.
Oh no, we're in Auckland last Friday playing Moana Pacific, and it's kind of different kind of heat, very humid during the match. But yeah, the last few days has been outstanding down here in Dunedin. As I said to you earlier, the wife and I, we went to St Kilda Beach last night to have a swim about 7 o'clock at night. That doesn't happen very often in Dunedin, so any chance you can get in the south, you head to the water for sure.
Well, you got another warm-up match against the Cantabs Crusaders on Thursday in Invercargill, but just harken back to that one up at North Harbour. Had a good mate, Jamie Wall, went along there and watched that game. It's always difficult to kind of think of things to ask you about it because it's a pre-season game. So can I just open it up and say, what were your general thoughts after watching your team play?
Look, it was scrappy. There was lots of mistakes. Every player, we wanted to give as many players in our squad an opportunity because, you know, past years we've had 3 games of pre-season. This year's 2 games, and then we're off to Sydney next Friday. You know, and in terms of everyone has put a hell of a lot of work into their pre-season. And so we just thought it was more important for the squad that everyone gets a taste of the rugby, particularly the guys that won't get, unless their injuries, a lot of game time throughout the season. So what that creates is a pretty scrappy game. But what I was mostly proud about, Marty, is, you know, really trying conditions. You know, flying to Auckland in the morning, getting off the plane, playing a game of rugby and flying home. They found a way to win, and that was on the last play of the game. And it was an 80-metre try with lots of touches from different players. And so, so what does that tell me? It tells me there's belief in the team around what we're doing, and there's certainly fitness to be able to hang in there.
Could you play, if the Super Rugby was starting this weekend, is your team ready to play this weekend? And if not, what can you do between now and the weekend after next? You've only got, 7, 8, 9 days left?
Yeah, look, I like it'll be like everybody in the first weekend. And I guess that's why the teams with the most experience, where they can get off and just pick up where they left off better than the younger guys who haven't been to big stadiums, played in front of big crowds, haven't played with that burden of responsibility. That's the part that we're going to get used to. We have to get used to. So we've had our team connected together, you know, longer than, for example, the teams with lots of All Blacks, because we only have one All Black. But so we're fit and ready to go. But we haven't had that match experience, and so there'll always be news for us. There'll always be anxiety when the pressure comes on, and that really just takes time in the saddle to get used to that.
Jamie, you're used to over the last few years, I mean, very proud Highlander yourself, but the fact that this team is under-resourced in terms of, as you say, elite players and All Blacks, is that just how it is at the moment, and you've just got to deal with that?
Yeah, well, yeah, there's nothing I can do about that apart from coach and develop these young men into All Blacks, and then things change, and then hopefully we're able to keep them. It hasn't always been like that. No. You know, there has been a number of players, but what I've said to my players, which is where we're at, we've got 18 New Zealand under 20 players. You know, from two seasons ago, we've got 1 All Black, and 2 with Folau, and then we've got a handful of New Zealand A players, and I guess. And our average age is 22, you know, so that for me is our point of difference. We've got a team that's young, hungry, and ready to go. They're fit, but it's going to take a little bit of time to get that match time experience that, you know, perhaps the other clubs have. And so then what's important for me is that we create a club and a team environment where they want to be part of. And so far, that's been really, really good. And so we've got new captains, a new coaching team. We've got We've even got a new clubhouse, Marty. We've got so the owners have bought into the fact that they needed to reinvest in the club. We've been operating with 2 showers and 50 players since 2012. We've got 8 showers now, so it's a blessing.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
not
good.
too smelly anymore, so things are looking up.
And the hot water stays. One of the things over the last couple of seasons that I think all of us from this side of the microphone, all sort of fans look at is that, some of the games, you're getting guys that might have not even played or one game of NPC, and they're all of a sudden they get their Super Rugby debut. And, that war of attrition, those injuries do happen. So just harking back to the fact that you can prepare your players, but how do you prepare them for that big stage and actually say to them, hey, it's still a game of rugby. You are playing for the Highlanders. This is your opportunity. What do you say to them?
Well, there's the first step is getting them physically prepared, because and I guess over time I've copped a bit of criticism around that. But what I know is that when the teams go to the stadium, that they're ready to go physically. And then you've got to ask, if you don't have the physical preparation, how do the players that are 21, 22, how do they get confident to go out and play the Wallabies? Like, we're playing a number of Wallabies, if not, I don't know how many the Waratahs have, but it sounds like the whole team's Wallabies. Mm-hmm. And following week, the Blues. So if you're not physically prepared to a level where do you get your confidence from? And so then I go back to the first step really is to give them physical confidence that they can actually cope with anything that comes at them. And then the second part, which is, I guess, what you're referring to, is what do I say to the players? To keep things really sharp and short. It's really that they're a part of a team and that they've got a specific role, and that's all they need to do. And so then the coach's job is to make sure that role is really clear and simple. Sometimes coaches stuff that up, don't they, and give the information out so the boys can go out there and actually use their skills and use their physicality or whatever they might have as a point of difference, and go out and try and win a game of rugby. It's a game of rugby that everyone loves to play, but sometimes we can complicate things. I try to uncomplicate things.
Is that a different you coaching than, say, it has been over the last few years? And how different is it? Like, what have you learned? What are you learning?
No, never changed.
Okay.
So keeping things really simple allows the players to take responsibility, and and keeping things really complicated, and then we get lost in the noise of of details. So I guess I've coached. This is a new coaching team. For the previous 10, 11, 12 years, I've coached with Tony, and we've had quite a stable coaching team. We know each other really well, and we offer different things to the players. It's taken a little bit to, I guess, bring my coaching team together around keeping things really simple. So, if you ask, I think the best ones to ask around how we coach is really the players. But I guess if the players are enjoying the footy, enjoying the team environment, going out and showing confidence in the game, then it kind of reflects how they're getting led from the top, from myself and my coaching team,
Every coach goes into this, every team goes into this with the objective of winning the competition. And, that doesn't change. You have to say that. But, from listening to you as well, you've also got to be realistic about it. So have you set any ambitions for this team in terms of wins, in terms of top 6 aspirations, those things?
Yeah, look, I know this because this is just everything that I've done as a coach. Like, every team that I've coached really is... These questions are the same questions, from 25 years ago when I first started, and then coaching the Māori All Blacks to beat England. I seem to always have teams that the perception is the opposition will win. And that's my job really, is to have a vision where the players believe, and then when they believe, then a method to achieve that vision. And that hasn't been any different from the early days in the Highlanders to Japan or the Māori All Blacks or any other team that I've coached. It's no different now. The reality is we're a team. I feel we're a team on the up. I talked about the amount of young players that we have. Young guys, for me, it's a young guys game, Marty. If they stop looking at the passport number, when they make the team, so we got young guys. They're keen. They'll make mistakes, and I guess it's just how they recover from those mistakes and under big gains. It's just going to take a little bit of time, but in terms of our intent and what we want to do as a team, bloody oath we want to win the competition. This is just going to be a hard job for us.
So how much long term are you looking at as opposed to the right now?
Well, I'm not sure your question.
Well, it's just that, you've got young players and you want them around, and obviously that's all kind of in the future. You can probably look at this group of players and think, wow, this is what you might be like in 2 or 3 years. But here is the here and now where you've got to start playing this competition in 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, I've got to win one game. There's 14 games. So, and then if you win one game, you get another game. There was a team last year that had a All Black team and couldn't win bugger all. I've been in that position as well, and the year later won the competition. So it's a funny old game, rugby, when you get these perceptions which create expectations on the players, it doesn't necessarily help. Well, I just know inside our team is that everyone's on the same page and everyone's really keen. I can't tell you, whether it's going to be this year or next year. But I can tell you this: we're going for this year.
How important is it to you to get a New Zealand scalp? Because it's been a while. I don't know what the stats are, but somebody will know what the stats are. But it's been a while.
Well, that's a question at the other end of the spectrum. That's on the basis of somebody else's team. So we've got a new team. There's been 12 players that are new. Green, new. We beat the Crusaders last year. I don't know how many years it's been. Look, I don't know the answer to that question because I don't think like that, Marty. What I think about is the Crusaders in a couple of days and how that's going to feed into the Waratahs match. And if we're worthy and we create an opportunity to win, then there'll be another game. I'm not scooting ahead. I don't think I've got the luxury to be able to scoot ahead because the depth of my teams in terms of experience is way behind the other clubs. So it is certainly game by game.
Jamie, was it always the plan when you came back that you wanted to get this job and be hands-on and be the head coach again? Because you've had other roles within the franchise.
Yeah, no, it was my job to come back and have a breather.
Okay.
So I've been living overseas. It started off with my family for 2 years, and then for different reasons, the crew came back, and so I've been travelling for 6 years. That became unsustainable. I've got 4 children. I've still got a 16-year-old daughter at home, a son at uni here at Dunedin, and so when we made the decision to leave Japan and come back and put family first, I was actually ready to have a breather because I've been going for a while then without a rest, and then opportunity to come and support the club in a head of rugby role, which seemed less strenuous as coaching. So I said, yeah, well, that sounds like a good idea. Certainly kept me close to the club that I love. And I felt there's a really supporting role for a young head coach, not a young coach, but a young head coach first time.
Yeah.
Didn't enjoy it, Marty. Just enjoyed coaching. Didn't enjoy being a head of rugby. Trying to do everything else apart from coaching. I really just enjoy the coaching.
I was going to ask you that was going to be the next question. How much are you enjoying it? Yeah, you're loving it, obviously.
I like the crowd. I like the players. Yeah. There's lots of things that go on behind clubs and rugby teams that feed into the coaching team. But I just feel, for me, taking responsibility for the whole shebang is better suited to my skill set.
A couple of quick questions. We'll let you go. Thank you very much for your time. I know you're bloody busy, obviously. In terms of international coaching, in terms of at the very highest levels with another team, be it the All Blacks or anything, is that something you've parked at the moment? Is that something you're never going to revisit? Is that something that may happen?
Well, I love coaching international. It is different. So you learn your trade, in a grinding competition like the Super Rugby, where everything's always on the move, training. And then you experience, which I have, 2 World Cups with Japan, bringing a team together, highly motivated, highly resourced. But for us, you're playing Tier 1 teams. So when I first started coaching Japan, we'd get one big game a year. When I finished playing Japan, we're having 8 Tier 1 test matches. It's a hard place to win.
There you go, yeah.
But it was great for the players and certainly for me as a rugby coach. I'd love to get back to international coaching at some stage. It's just I've just parked it for a couple of years because of my family situation. I'm going to work hard to get back there at some stage. Just the opportunities are really slim.
And how is Tony, mate? You're in touch with him a lot. He's not doing bad with South Africa, is he?
He's a Highlander, and he lives in Dunedin. He lives around the corner. he's actually in our facilities. He's a helper. He's one of us. So and Corey's younger brothers coaching with us as well. So no, Tony will always be part of the fabric here. He's on the walls. He's in the blood. And it's important that any opportunity that we can get that the coaches like Tony with the experience that he has come back and share it with us and the boys.
Thank you so much for your time, mate. You sound as though you're in the right place. You're the right person there at the moment. For most of us who've all got other teams we love to support in the competition as well, the Highlanders are always our second favourite team. I genuinely wish you all the best for the season. I can't wait to see who you put out on that pitch and how they develop, mate. Go well.
Good man. Thanks, Marty. Thanks.
DSPN.